Hello, and welcome back in to another edition of Tech in 10, the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs post-game show. From the Western Daily Leader, I am sports editor Matt Bellinson, coming to you mobile once again. For those of you that missed my Twitter post earlier this week, I am back in the Midwest for what was a great wedding this weekend. Got to see a lot of old friends and some family that I hadn't seen in a number of years, and had a nice celebration with them. And figured I would record the Tech and 10 post game, obviously, the morning after Louisiana Tech's 17-10 loss to the FIU Panthers on the road. Again, just for full transparency, I obviously was not watching this game. Like I said, I was at a wedding, so I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty details. But again, looking through the box score, it doesn't seem like I missed too much, just in terms of Louisiana Tech's offensive production. You don't even get 300 yards of total offense against an FIU program that I believe I wrote down here in my pregame notes. Yeah, averaging 435 yards per game allowed on defense, ninth in the conference out of 10 teams in rushing defense, 212 yards a game, and you come away with 79 yards rushing and 297 yards total. It's just not in a good spot for Louisiana Tech. The Bulldogs are now 1-3 overall, lost their last three games, going into their second bye week, I guess now. It's just when we talked in the preseason about kind of the hinge games that could maybe flip this season. I said the Tulsa game and the FIU game were games that if you win both those games and you go into your bye week 3-1, you feel really, really good about the state of this program, about the direction of potentially, contending in the postseason, maybe finding your way into a Conference USA title race. And now, I mean, it's the scenario that they could not have. And again, I know, obviously, they had to start a redshirt freshman, his first career start on the road tonight, or I guess I should say Saturday, with Evan Bullock. Again, I'm not gonna throw too much of the blame on him. First career start, 26 attempts, 37 completions, 218 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Again, typical drive chart for Louisiana Tech against an FIU team that again is really bad defensively. I think they gave up 45 points to an FCS team the week prior. Punt, turnover on downs, halftime, punt, touchdown, field goal, fumble, punt, turnover on downs. That's the offense that you brought to FIU. 8 penalties for 80 yards, 6 of 15 on third down, 2.7 yards per carry. It's just not good. And I'm not sure. Again, I know Sonny Cumbie was talking to us Tuesday about how he feels like there's a lot of games left, and there's obviously eight more to go if you're Louisiana Tech. But at this point, I struggle to figure out where this offense can improve. Now, again, I know obviously Evan Bullock, experience wise in this offense, he's pretty much brand new. But that being said, I mean, we all know why we're here. I mean, Jack Turner's time in this offense, at least for the moment, seems to be over. And they're going to try and see what Evan has. Now, again, maybe coming out of the bye week, maybe they said, we'll throw Jack back out there again, and see if he can figure some things out. But I mean, as of this point, you're basically just saying, all right, kid, let's just learn on the fly here. Let's try and build something for the future, and you develop as you go along. And I think they're going to have to take some growing pains with that. Obviously, the growing pains were still there with Jack under center, but I think now you're almost at the point where not only in your season, but I think just kind of the direction of where things are headed, that you might just want to, I think, just kind of see what the young guys have. You might just want to see, I think, what you're potentially working with next year at the quarterback position. And again, offensively, I know Sonny Cumbie keeps talking about Tuesday, at his Tuesday press conference about how he feels like they understand, what's behind the slow starts. They need all 11 guys, on offense to play together to understand their assignments at the same time. And then you go on the road to an FIU program that, again, just gave up 45 to an FCS team, and you're scoreless. You don't even score by halftime. And I know they were stuffed at 4th and 1 at the goal line, but again, we even saw it, in the not only the Nichols game, but I guess the Tulsa game as well. 4th and goal, 4th and short, 3rd and goal, 3rd and short. Near the end zone. This team cannot just run the ball downhill. I know they've had a couple of nice, kind of end around sweeps to Jimmy Holiday for some touchdowns. I mean, he's been their most consistent, scoring threat on the ground so far this year. And again, I know Marquise Crosby again is dealing with an injury. Denario Davenport, 6 carries for 25 yards. Again, Fred Robertson, a true freshman, 6 carries for 16 yards. Amari Wiggins, 5 carries for 13 yards. Again, against an FIU team that was giving over 200 yards rushing on the ground coming into this game. And you don't even crack, I think, 80 total. So, overall, it's pretty much a similar story offensively. There's not enough explosiveness. There's way too much instability at the quarterback position. Now, again, I'm not going to obviously throw this loss on Evan Bullock, first career start. I'm not expecting him to go out there and throw for 300 and 3 touchdowns. But at the same time, I think Sonny Cumby admitted himself that he made the move from Blake Baker originally in the Tulsa game to from Jack Turner to Blake Baker to bring juice to this offense. Then obviously, Blake gets hurt, and then he tried, a little bit later on, he tries to get Jack back in. It's more of the same. And so I think if you're Sonny Cumby, again, I think this move at quarterback is clearly a sign of, we know the kid probably can't do a lot right now. We know that he's still inexperienced. He hasn't seen a ton of live defenses at the college level. Let's just kind of ease him into it. And that's where, again, a run game would help this offense so much with how much, inexperience there is at the quarterback position. And you come away with 2.4 yards a carry. You just can't have it. And so, again, you go into your bye week 1-3 overall. You still got to play Middle Tennessee, New Mexico State, UTEP. Those are games that, at least on paper, you could potentially win. I don't think UTEP has a win this year. Middle Tennessee is still kind of struggling. And then New Mexico State's kind of a toss-up. And then, obviously, again, we've talked about it before. Then you got to go play Sam Houston, a really good Sam Houston team this year. You still got to play Western Kentucky, Jacksonville State, Arkansas, and then close the year with Kennesaw State. So, again, on paper, there were certainly wins that I thought that this team would have through the first 4 weeks. Obviously, one of them being the Tulsa game. I said at the beginning, I thought this FIU game was going to be a toss-up. Obviously, I didn't know, what was going to be taking place at the quarterback position and kind of maybe just how poorly this offense has been. But that being said, I definitely had said if they go into their bye week 1-3, it's just an uphill climb that I'm not sure they're going to be able to dig their way out of. And so again, Louisiana Tech falls 17-10. They haven't cracked 30 points this year against any opponent, including FCS, Nichols in the opener. Again, it all comes back to this offense. Again, your defense holds FIU to 17 points, has a couple takeaways, and you can't find a way to win. So again, it's more of the same. And we'll see coming out of the bye week here in 2 weeks when they host Middle Tennessee. If there's any change at quarterback, what the offense looks like. Be curious to see kind of what Sonny Cumby's, diagnosis is of the continued offensive issues, because he keeps telling us, at least in the Tuesday press conferences, that they feel like they have the solution. They feel like they know what's causing this team problems. And then the exact same thing happens every single week with the slow starts, a couple scores, and then nothing. And so if you're Louisiana Tech, I think you gotta love what this defense is doing. They're keeping you in these games. For as poorly as the offense has started these games, the defense continues to go out there and give you opportunities to win. And again, you can't come away with more than 10 points against an FIU team that has really struggled this year, and I would imagine is going to finish in the bottom half of the conference by season's end. So again, similar story. Again, I wasn't watching this game live, so I can't speak to the penalty issue. It did sound like there were a lot of personal foul calls on Louisiana Tech, so I don't know if that's a lack of discipline, over aggressiveness, whatever the case may be, but it's definitely not good enough, and it clearly cost them, partially the win tonight, or on Saturday, I should say. So again, Louisiana Tech falls 17-10 to the FIU Panthers. Again, the Bulldogs will enter their bye week and will return to Joe IE Stadium for the first of their midweek games in the second week of October. So looking forward to seeing how that goes for Louisiana Tech and if they have any sort of improvement offensively. But for now, this is going to do it for this edition of Tech in 10. For the Ruston Daily Leader, I'm sports editor Matt Bellinson saying thank you for listening. Have a good one.